welcome to the iBuyer experiment. We are so glad you're here. Today, Eliot and I are talking about surviving the shift.
Yes. Welcome, everybody. We are very excited to be with you. Really excited to be able to share some of this, content with you, right? So one of the things I think I get so excited, candidly, in a shift, and then maybe because we've been through a shift down and a shift up, right?
A few.
Right? Like that. Yeah. There's actually a lot of people don't know how to. They get so niched in a downturn. Right. We know a lot of colleagues that they just didn't shift. They didn't adjust out of the shift when we shifted away from REO and short sale. Right. They had a hard time transitioning to a traditional market. And then now that we're shifting, now to where from being order takers, quite frankly, right? We actually have to sell, talk about price reductions and be consultative, right? I think that was, as we were kind of preparing for this, that was one of the things that we were talking about was being consultative. So let me ask you to you, what does that mean?
Right. So, well, before we kind of dive into that, I just want to say that Jason and Keith are not with us today. They are in Colorado.
Shame on me.
They're meeting with a couple brokers with Zoodealio, so that's exciting, and they are just bummed that they're not here.
Yep.
So what does it look like? What does it really look like to grow your business? And it's an interesting thought. Let's just kind of pause there for a moment, because if we're going to think about how we're going to grow our business, we need to be realistic about market conditions, right?
Yes.
And I am generally optimistic, but I'm also a realist.
Okay.
And if you look at the amount of home sales we had last year, 6 million nationally, and if you look at the seasonally adjusted projection for this year, it's 4.8. And so Eliot and I were just talking about how that's a 20% decrease in transaction count.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's sizable.
Very sizable.
Right. And so it could be really easy for you to think that, oh man, I can't grow my business in this market.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of the foundation to all of this is your mindset.
Yes.
What do you think is possible? Because whether you think it's true or not, it will happen for you, right? So if you don't think it's possible to even grow your business, then it's probably not going to happen for you.
Absolutely. Well, and I think, I know most of our listeners, viewers are more true practitioners, right? So, those of you guys, should actually be looking for this, right? Because again, I don't want to sound like a negative Nancy in this circumstance, but sometimes these downturns kind of sheds the easiness of getting a license, whether it be MLO, mortgage loan originator, or a real estate license, right? You have over 500,000 MLOs across the country and over 1.6 million real estate agents. That's 200,000 people, right? As far as that goes, or 200,000, I wish it was
2 million. Yeah, it's a lot.
Right. Now, and then you have 1.6 million people servicing those 6 million transactions, right, that are there. And then now it's going to be 4.8 million, right? So, that's, if you think about it, right, the average agent, roughly 5 transactions. Well, that's down to 4 transactions now, right? That's actually, and because the commission is, let's just say 15 to 20 grand in most cases, that's a sizable income cut.
Right. But I think what Eliot and I get so excited about, and kind of some of the things we want to share with you today, is that this is actually your opportunity to feast.
Seize.
Yeah, seize. Be hungry right now. And so I think that the first thing that I would share with you is just make sure you have an excellent mindset. Because what we know is any of the strategies that we're going to share with you today, if you don't come from that wonderful mindset,
100%.
You won't implement them, you won't follow through on them, you won't keep doing them when it gets hard, right before they click and right before things take off, and you'll quit or you'll pivot. And so what we just want to share with you is have a beautiful mindset. How do you do that? Well, a few things. I think that if you struggle with staying in a positive frame, maybe get yourself a coach or a mentor or somebody that can really help you kind of see the bigger picture, because it's easy to get lost in the weeds. We've all had those days when we find out that a friend listed their home with someone else or a family member bought a home with someone else, and it just kind of knocks us off our rocker and makes us feel really bad, feel sorry for ourselves, and maybe that day of feeling bad turns into a week, and maybe that week turns into 2. And so how are you going to snap yourself out of it so you can get back out there and put yourself...
Yeah, stop having that excuse and that story, right? I know I'm a little rigid, I think, when it comes to those things, but at the same time, right, to much that has been given, much is expected, right? To me, that's kind of like a mantra that I try to live my life by. So anyways, I think another thing too, I'll say when it comes to mindset, to me, it's all right, maybe you're in a rough season of life. Maybe there's, worse circumstances than somebody just listed their house, right? But it all comes down to what's one thing that you can do that particular day, right? That's going to help you win the day, right? So I actually recently saw a post that actually it was more fitness based, and one of the things I followed, and it actually really resonated for me because I have some challenging things in my life, like we all do right
100%,
now.
100%, right?
And it was like, hey, train to win life. And I was like, damn, that's exactly the point of it, right? Because me being a ex-retired athlete and all that other stuff, like where once upon a time I trained for a reason. And now, I like to work out and, try to do things, stay physically fit. But sometimes it's harder because like, what's the reason behind it? So anyways, what I'm sharing with you and saying this is win the day, right? So sometimes it's just one thing. I think sometimes we set ourselves up like, hey, I'm going to go set goals. I'm going to set these 15 goals. And then we just get overwhelmed, right? So sometimes it's like, all right, well, here's this some-a-day goal, and it's some-a-day. That's where, like, I think some of these goal planning systems of like 4 weeks, 1 month, 1 quarter, 1 year, or I think sometimes we just peel it back to, like, if you're struggling out there uncertain right now in today's times, peel it back to a 1-day goal.
Right.
Like, hey, today I'm going to make 3 phone calls. Today I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. Today I'm going to do X, X and X that's going to cause me to prime my day for the rest of the thing, right? And we all know that you and I especially are very much so into, thought leadership, right? Like you got to prime the pump, you got to plant the seeds, right? So like that means like, personal growth type stuff. Like what can I learn? What can I learn in a book, right? What can I watch in a podcast?
Yeah. It's so interesting you bring that up. So last week I podcasted with Michael, the CEO of Revive, and Revive is
What's up, Michael?
Yeah, reinventing the construction and real estate kind of collision. Anyway, Michael, he's such a learner.
Yeah.
And he had shared with us kind of like his goals for the month. And one of them, read 3 books, right?
Love it.
And I had recommended a book to him as we were podcasting, and he literally like opened up his phone and bought it and downloaded it like right then and there. And he's like, I'm going to listen to this on the airplane home. And I'm like, I believe you. Like, this is so cool. Like a life learner.
Yep.
And so I just wanted to kind of share that story because it tied into what you're saying. Yeah. Like what do you fill your mind with? Are you listening to like constantly negative news? That is not an acronym, I promise. But what are you taking in? Because if it's garbage in, it's going to be garbage out. And so look at what the inputs out are if you want to see what the outputs are.
So true.
Yeah. So mindset's number 1. Like, so we just wanted to like really like kind of summarize, like you got to have a good mindset, and it's difficult when things can be very tougher. Difficult. Yeah, for sure. So we get that, like mad empathy to all of you. We understand that things might be a little bit harder right now. But let's get tactical.
Love
because this is kind of where, and it's kind of where Eliot shines, is on this like tactical implementation of strategies.
Yep.
And I know one thing that we both agree is if you want to really grow your business, you have to have a dialed in database. So
hell yeah.
We were just looking at kind of just some stats, and 75% of most real estate agents' business comes from referral. And when I shared that, right, Eliot's first comment was, which is why lead generation is all the more important, because you add another person to your fold, you're going to get more
compound effect.
Yes. So it all ties together. So we want to talk today a little bit about kind of the funnel strategies.
The funny thing is I don't remember what the exact stat is on it, and I'm a little disappointed that it's not coming to me right now, but it's roughly 75% of agents don't use a CRM. Right? Like it is astronomically high. I'm not saying that they don't have one, they don't use it, right? Like there's so many people that they like, candidly, right? Like I love where we've gotten to this point in Zoodealio, because now we're working with thousands of agents, and we, get to consult with brokers, team owners across the board. And I have to be honest, there's a lot of people that I ask them, say, hey, what are you using for, a CRM management X? Okay, cool. Well, how many people do you have in it? I don't know. I need to look, which obviously I don't expect you to have the exact number. Okay, well, what are you doing for this? What are you doing for that? What are you doing for this? And the answer more times than not in all of those particular areas is, I've never even thought of that. I'm not, right? Like, it's like, damn. Well, hey, look, if the turnover rate per your database is X, and you're not managing it and you're not getting that many transactions from them, right? It's just like the national turnover rate in America right now is roughly 5%.
Right. Wow.
So if you have a database of 1,000 people and you're not getting 5% of the transactions from them, clearly you're not messaging to them correctly. Now, do I think that you're going to get 100% of the business from your database? No, I'm not going to be unrealistic in that fashion. But, you should be certainly getting the lion's share of it if you have the proper systems and process in doing that. And that's just lay down business, right?
100%. Right.
Come and repeat and referral, baby.
Yeah, we love repeat and referral.
That's right.
Okay, so I love that. Just definitely putting things into perspective that you've got to use the tool in order for the tool to work.
Absolutely.
Right? So, really to build upon that. So let's talk some funnel strategies for new leads. I know that at Zoodealio, you pioneered our I am.
I did.
So tell us, what is I am? How does it work? And just kind of share with us, because here's the thing, like whether you choose into Zoodealio, whether you choose into I am, which you can't right now because it's only beta and we're not releasing it to everybody, but we want to share the fundamentals and the strategy behind it. But whether you choose into something here or somewhere else, like the goal is to share with you what is working. You want to grow your business. You want to be to a point you're not. And here's a strategy that works.
Well, giving it a proper tee up, right? So the reason why it's not very, widely available is because Zoodealio is not a CRM, right? Like we made a decision that we want to be a software company that provides, lead capture, all of the marketing services, and we wanted to stay in our lane. With that said, we give you every tool that you need to build this inside of your Boomtown, KV Core, Lion's Desk, etc., right? Chime, whatever. And because a lot of them have behavior metrics, inside of it, that's where a lot of these triggers and automated, marketing comes from. So the IAM is an acronym for Intelligent Agent Marketing, right? That's ultimately what it is. And what it is it's automated marketing for you based on the behaviors of your consumer, right? And so we actually start very, very simple, top of funnel. Right. And what that is to build awareness and interest. And you want to do that through your UVP, your unique value proposition. Right. So that's one of the things that I'm so gangbuster on with Zoodealio is I don't care if you're a 1-year agent or a 20-year agent. We give you guns blazing, locked and loaded, whatever analogy you want to use, best UVP out there. Turn a buyer's offer to cash, walk into any listing virtually with a cash offer in hand.
Right.
Like that's going to get you the job interview. Hello.
Right.
So that's objective number one. And then so when you're doing that at scale and at mass, and then now through today's modern technology, I can not only track when they open it, I can track when they engage it. What are they clicking? What are they doing? And then furthermore, those after they engage with the content, it will fire off workflows, right? So hey, call this person. Hey, send this text message, right? And the system will actually automatically do that for you. And so that is what we're building. And the reason why we built it and betaed it is because we are going to build an automated marketing piece inside of Zoodealio.
Yes.
So that's going to,
excited.
yeah, I'm so stoked for that.
Excited.
Total game changer, right? And the reason why that is again, and I know we're totally vomiting on you with stats today, but to me, this is one of the most important stats out there is roughly, almost half of the people that are hitting the market today are first starting off with a cash offer, especially in your iBuyer prime markets. Mm-hmm. Well,
wait, can we just pause? Say that again.
Almost 50% of the houses that are hitting the market are first starting with a cash offer, especially in the iBuyer prime markets.
Powerful.
It's insane, right? Imagine if you could throw your hat in the arena for 50% of the houses that are going to list on the list, right?
That is literally the conversation, right? That's the question that you want to ask yourself.
Right.
Sure.
It's huge. And then the crazy data point is a high begging 5% of the offers are accepted. But here's the crazy data point behind it, right? And this is a stat by Mike Del Prete from, connoisseur, I guess, in this particular space.
He's like the iBuyer, power buyer.
Yeah.
He coined the term power buyer.
Yeah, he sure did.
He's an influencer.
Yeah, he's a brilliant mind, and he has the data and the reports to do it. But anyways, here's the stat.
He is a brilliant mind, but I always have to tell the story when he comes up. We had a conference call with him a few years ago, and he was like eating a peach. If you've never had a conference call with somebody while they're eating a peach, you don't want to. It's so loud and gross.
Well,
like imagine how that sounds.
Yeah.
Like in your ear.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, go on.
So anyhow, he's good, brilliant mind.
yes, 100%.
Anyhow, the roughly half of the people, right, that request a cash offer go on to list or accept a cash offer within 6 months, right? So when you're thinking about the quality lead, I want you guys to put that into perspective, okay? So you're paying for Zillow, you're paying for whatever lead source, right? There's Tiger Leads, whatever it is, PPCs, right? Like whether it's search, ads, social, whatever else, right? The incubation cycle on most of those projections is 18 to 24 months.
Mm-hmm. And the cash
and the
offer,
conversion ratio on those is like, if you're solid, is like 3%. I hear these
solid.
teams. I hear these teams say that they're going to get 3%. I'm like, show me.
Right.
Because if so, I mean, I will say that you can actually create a lot of leads, but I mean, most of the conversion in those is more like 0.5%, 1%. Right. So my point is that when you're pouring that type of incubation time into it, well, now you have a higher quality lead in a shorter decision-making time. Right. So now you understand, right, that why that's so powerful. And then here's my other favorite data point on why we built these particular models. Well, if these people that are selling your house, National Association of Realtors and Zillow says 61% is a rolling, pretty concrete number. 61% of the people, when they're selling a house, are also buying a house. Right? So you're getting 1.5 transactions for every lead that you went over. Like, freaking no-brainer. Let's do this.
Exactly, which is why we have Zoodealio members like Kathy Ryan in California. Love her. She's also a cash offer coach now for EXP. Love it. It's why we have agents like Kathy that are building amazing businesses and using Zoodealio as the tool to generate more listing opportunities. You know, so many agents get focused. They major in the minors. They get focused on the cash offer. They get focused on, is it going to be good, or what are the fees? How much, what's the commission? All this stuff.
Yep.
And it's not about the cash offer. It's about the opportunity to meet the seller where they're at. And where they're at is they're wondering what the easy option exit for their home would be. You meet them there, you give them that easy option exit. And then if the numbers don't work, you quickly pivot to showing them how you can bring their home to market, maximize your expertise so that you can get them top dollar.
Absolutely. And again, not to I think, let's face it, it's almost 2023, right? Like let's just it
is.
For us, and all you true business connoisseurs out there, 2022 is over, right?
Right. Like we're rolling into quarter four. We're rolling in hot.
Well, I know Keith yesterday was talking about some of our goals, right? And he's like, we got to find seven more, from a unit metric that we work. He's like, we got to find, a little bit more for us to hit our particular goal.
Yeah.
And I was like, badass, let's do it. Let's find a way, right? Because like we already have it skinned out where we're at with our projections now. We somehow have to find 7 more to hit our goals in this particular arena. So I thought that was pretty cool.
And what's also cool is at the beginning of the year when we set our goals, I looked at the numbers and I was like, no, this is not going to work. We can do better.
Yeah,
and we increased them.
Ourselves.
We increased our goals in the beginning of the year, actually late last year. We increased our goals for 2022 by 30%.
I know, it's
and
insane.
we are exceeding them already.
It's
amazing.
It is really cool, and especially through these shifts and whatever else. So the part I wanted to share real quick on that, the importance of technology, I would say, is actually it's becoming more, right? I think you need to meet the consumer where they're at, right? That's a cliche saying, but it's also very true, right? Like digital space, online, whatnot. And I know not everybody in the real estate space, or the 1.6 million, is enticed or a leader in technology space. However, I think that's what we created at Zoodealio. It's super easy to create the lead. It's super easy to invite your client inside to request the cash offer. And then the biggest difference in what we bring to this to the marketplace is the offer dashboard, where you can side-by-side comparison the different cash selling options, right? Instantly. Right, the options that are available: buy, get a cash offer, the cash plus, sell now, move later, fix it and list it, right? Like all of these different options in one just simple place if your house qualifies for it or not. But then, of course, next to what the agent could list and sell their house for. So now you could walk in, like I said before with my analogy, locked and loaded, to be able to give them their menu of options. Not only that, think about it, guys. You're not walking in talking to them just about a listing. You could be walking in and talking about, hey, I got a contract for your house. Like, deal is done, right? Like, and then if for some, in that circumstances, if these options don't work for them, and then you could show them how you're going to market their house and sell it within an X number of days for, maybe X plus reason, whatever that is. That's where your expertise kind of comes into place. But that digital, the digital, offer dashboard is the key pivot, right? That puts you in the center of that. So
I think that we all can viscerally relate to building trust through technology.
Absolutely.
So I have
Great point.
and we can all also, on the flip side, we know what it's like to have trust broken by technology. And I've got a good example of this. So I 5-7 years ago, I started a Facebook group here in my local market. I also, many of you probably know this about me, but I have a residential real estate brokerage. And at that time I had a couple hundred agents, and we were really actively involved with like mentoring and training the agents. And one of the lead generating techniques that we used was to build Facebook groups. And then of course now you have like this little,
It was a
group of people.
Yeah, genius
right?
move.
So we grew this Facebook group, and I think it had like 70,000 members in it. It was massive. And all of a sudden, like in the middle of the night last week, we get an email from Facebook that says your group's been deactivated. It's been deleted. And we're like, wait, what? And they're like, for copyright. And we're like,
what
are we talking about? And then in the message, it says that they'd emailed us. And so like we all went back through our emails, and like, none of us were finding anything. And then like finally, like one email was discovered that said that there was something that was posted in the group that was supposedly a copyright infringement. And so Facebook unilaterally deactivated and deleted our group of 70,000 people.
Because of one post?
Apparently.
Oh my gosh.
The point is we all know what it's like to build trust through technology. We all know what it's like to have trust broken through technology. My question for you is, how are you going to build trust through technology with the people that you would like to do business with? And what we believe is that we have a solution for you to do that and to really position yourself as a leader. And so that kind of all ties into, so number one was like mindset. You got to have a good mindset in this market to survive the shift. Number two, you really have to focus on lead generating and really build out a funnel that converts very well for you.
Absolutely.
And the key to that is having a reason for someone to even engage or enroll in your funnel, right?
Exactly. What's your value proposition?
That's our value proposition. So we believe here that the cash is king, and we think that it's like the best value proposition of all time. So the third thing we kind of had talked about, and kind of wrapping it up, if you really want to grow right now, you have to also be a consultant and an educator.
Heck yeah.
So let's talk through, what does consultancy and education look like, and what does that look like at scale?
Well, for starters, you need to be able to be clear on your message, right? Like, what is that value proposition? Speak to it intelligently, but then you need to capture it with this guy right here.
More like put that camera this way. Yes.
This way. There we go.
You have to talk to people.
Talk to it, right? Like, and the thing of that is I know so many people are afraid to do that, but the reality of it is it's reps. It's just like everything else we were talking about. Like, have a 1-day goal, have a 2-day goal, have a 1-week goal, have a 1-month goal, right? Like, where, hey, I'm going to talk to my camera every single day. And I think that sometimes, like, oh, well, that's not my philosophy. That's not my strategy.
No,
is your
funny?
strategy to not make money?
Yeah, right. No, it's funny that you peel it back so simply in just like one a day. I can remember we're working with a business consultant. His name is Buck Wise, and he was the former CMO for Grant Cardone, and he does a lot of work for Glenn Stanford with EXP, and he Ryan Serhant. So he's definitely working with some of the top of the real estate industry. So we're just
we have him on the podcast next week.
Yes, Buck will be on our podcast next week. So you're in for a treat. Definitely tune back in. But something that he said to us, because we're in hyper growth mode here at Zoodealio. And so as we're kind of like sharing with him and trying to build out like our brand house and personas and all of these things, Buck has told us many times, we're not going to solve all the world's problems today.
I keep trying though.
And it's the same with your content. You're not going to today put out the content that you would love to be putting out. But if you do it today and you do it again tomorrow and you do it again the next day and you keep going, it's going to get better and better and better. And eventually it will be the type of content that you're wanting to put out. So keep that in mind.
Well, and we've had like another one too, hearing you say that, I think that is, and I love watching his rise. And I think it's just because we got to meet him, kind of when he first was discovered, is Levi Lassac. right?
Yes.
He is absolutely crushing it. I mean, he's kind of known as, the YouTuber of real estate, right? At this point. And I mean, I watch his little excerpts that he puts on Insta, as far as like stories and whatnot. Like there was one that he talked about the other day where there's a lot of Middle Eastern, or not Middle Eastern, but foreigners moving to America. And one of the biggest things that they're doing is they'll actually search, and nobody's running ads in those particular areas, right? That are speaking a different language. Well, these people that are in these other foreign countries that can speak English are now trying to go there, and they're one of the best places they're doing it is YouTube. And like, videoing these neighborhoods and, hey, what's cool about this particular place, right? Like that's a strategy I know that a lot of agents have adopted, but it's still, I think now vertical based short form video, right? And I know that up to a minute because they've extended it, some of those other things. But my biggest thing is, guys, is here's the formula, right? And I know you guys have laid the blueprint for this all the time, right? It's got to be something personal, something that you're into, right? So that you're actually still captivating the audience, right? Like, yes, your unique value proposition is maybe how you pulled them in, but then from there, people that you want to work with, people that know, like, and trust you, right? And how you're going to build that trust is sometimes having and assembling something in common with them, right? Like, hey, we both like X. Hey, we're both into X, right? And like, don't be afraid to show those things. So sometimes if you're while you're building your confidence, right? Like the one day win the day philosophy, right? Talk about, if you like cars, go talk about it.
Right.
For like a quick second. If you like fruit, go talk about it for a quick second. If you like the color pink, go talk about it.
On today's episode, we're going to talk about bananas.
Let me tell you why I like the color pink. It is so freaking cool. Here's why. Let me show you my pink wardrobe.
No, like, and other women out there like me who love pink would be like, oh, yeah.
That's why I chose it. It's funny.
I love her. Like, I love her. She rocks
Carly
it.
loves pink too.
Pink is like the best. It's the best color. I love it. So good stuff today. So we definitely think that you got to consult, you got to educate, and you got to do it with this. So
it's a must.
It is a must. There you have it. There are 3
Hold on, one last thing before you do that. Because I think we need to put this in true perspective.
I'm laughing because Eliot always has the last word. Okay,
you can have the last word.
No, wrap us up.
This is just important, right? If I make a phone call, right? What is that? One phone call.
Yes.
If I post a video, right, and it only gets 500 views, how many people did I just touch?
Yeah, I know.
Like,
how long would it have taken you to make 500 phone calls?
That's my point.
Right.
Is it's like the quality, and then not only that, like the next time you see them, a lot of times that gives them a reason to talk to you. It's reverse prospecting.
Pretty cool, Eliot.
Simply put.
No. That was an amazing tidbit. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for listening, and don't miss next week's episode with Buckwise.
Peace.